The great nation of Canada smacked down Donald Trump. Canada did not bend. Canada did not break. When Donald Trump imposed devastating 25% across the board tariffs against Canada, Canada was ready, led by Prime Minister Trudeau, and across Canadian provinces, the people of the great nation of Canada were prepared, they were pissed, and they were ready to retaliate, and that's exactly what they did. The American markets were crashing. Donald Trump blinked. Donald Trump caved. Donald Trump temporarily withdrew the tariffs against Canada and Mexico until April 2nd, still having this yo-yo cycle of threats. And Canada's like, we don't care. We are going to continue to retaliate until you stop this madness, stop this nonsense. You are not going to bully us. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau gave an incredible speech yesterday when Donald Trump caved. Prime Minister Trudeau gave this speech in Ottawa. It was a teary speech as he gets ready to pass the torch to a new government after his time as Prime Minister is coming to an end. Here he talks about standing up to Trump, and he talks about how proud he is to stand with all Canadians at this time. Play this clip.
On a personal level, I've made sure that every single day in this office, I put Canadians first, that I have people's backs. And that's why I'm here to tell you all that we got you. Even in the very last days of this government, we will not let Canadians down today and long into the future.
Now here, Prime Minister Trudeau gives a great response to Trump changing his mind on tariffs again. Prime Minister Trudeau says it's basically just a Thursday at this point. I love it. Let's play it.
Foreign Affairs Minister yesterday called all of this a psychodrama. How do you characterize it?
Thursday.
And here Prime Minister Trudeau talks about how Canadians will still not be backing down at all, not now, not ever. Let's play this clip.
There are obviously conversations ongoing right now with the U.S. administration. But as I've said a number of times, we will not be backing down from our response tariffs until such a time as the unjustified American tariffs on Canadian goods are lifted.
Let's go to one of the provinces, shall we? Let's go take a look at what the British Columbia Premier had to say. Let's play it.
I did see the media report indicating that yet again, the president is sowing uncertainty and chaos, attempting to undermine our economy by implementing tariffs and then quickly pulling them off. He has realized what we told him from the beginning, which is that these tariffs hurt Americans. They hurt American companies. They hurt American workers. They hurt American families. And what's also hurting is the uncertainty that the continued threat and removal of tariffs has on our country here in Canada. My message for the Prime Minister, for my colleagues across the country, and it's one I'm sure they want to deliver to me too, is stand strong. We are not going to accept these continual threats, this continued uncertainty. We're going to stand up for Canadians. This is unacceptable. And we're going to ensure that the Americans understand how pissed off we are, how unified we are, how committed we are to working as a country to stand up for each other and our own independence on our own 2 feet. And I say we don't let up until the president takes the threat off the table.
Now, while all of this was taking place, the Trump Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, calls Prime Minister Trudeau a numbskull because that's all these cowards in the Trump regime have. They're like third grade petulant bullies. No offense to third grade petulant bullies. All it is name calling. Here, watch this.
As President Trump has said many times, tariff is his favorite word. I would say that reciprocal is probably his second favorite word. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to be open to the idea, if you want to be a numbskull like Justin Trudeau and say, oh, we're going to do this, then it's going to tariffs are going to go up. But if you want to sit back, have a discussion with the Commerce Department, USTR, they all have my phone number too. I am happy to have a discussion with our foreign counterparts.
Here's as CNN reported that Trump delayed some of the tariffs on Mexico and Canada for one more month. You see the stock market crashing above right there. Donald Trump then posted, believe it or not, despite the terrible job he's done for Canada, I think Justin Trudeau is using the tariff problem, which he has largely caused, in order to run again for a prime minister. So much fun to watch. What a sick and demented and twisted thing to say. So much fun to watch. What, the pain of your ally, or what, your ally stand up to you and smack you down? Prime Minister Trudeau is not running again. Prime Minister Trudeau showed what real leadership looked like, and it's just the most absurd and stupid statement imaginable. I'm not going to give it any more attention. Let's take a look at the Canadian Foreign Minister, what she had to say. Let's play this clip.
Well, first, we can definitely stop them because Canadians are united. They're united to defend our country. They're united to defend our jobs. And as I was saying, also our way of life. We're not Americans. We're very proud of our country. And when you look back at our history, we created Canada at the time, and we were part of the British Empire because we didn't want to be the United States. And as you can hear from my accent, I'm a francophone from Canada. And there was also this grand bargain between francophones and anglophones to make sure ultimately that we could create a strong country in North America. So based on that, we want to make sure that we defend who we are as a country. And we've been shown too much disrespect by the Trump administration at this point, calling us a 51st state, calling our prime minister governor. This is not only a personal issue between Prime Minister Trudeau and President Trump. It's way more than that. It is much more than just the political rhetoric. It is a fundamental threat. So what we're doing at home is we need to make sure that there's less internal barriers between our provinces and territories, because that's an issue. We think we can offset a lot of the impacts of the tariffs coming from the United States by being much more aligned as a federation, economically speaking. We want to be closer to the UK, like we did throughout our history. We want to be closer to Europe, closer also to Japan and also South Korea. And we'll continue to work with Mexico. That's just our reality. But fundamentally, if you ask me what President Trump wants, well, that's a question to ask to him. But we know that we have everything a country would dream of to have in a world. Why? Because we have all the energy necessary. We have all the fertilizers and potash necessary. We have all the land, and also we're, an agricultural superpower. We have all the uranium necessary, the hydroelectricity, the oil and gas. We have all the people, the critical minerals, the talent. I could go on and on and on. That's why we believe we're one of the best countries on earth, and we're stable, we're democratic. We look out for each other. We have very strong social programs, so we're a very stable democracy.
Yeah. And by the way, even MAGA Republican Rand Paul acknowledges that people in Kentucky are suffering. And one of the reasons as well is that Canadians are boycotting Kentucky booze. Play this clip.
Almost every industry in Kentucky has come to me and said it will hurt our industry and push up prices of homes, cars. And so I'm going to continue to argue against tariffs.
Should he back off of it if it starts to hurt the constituents?
When we start losing, you back off. There's such a thing as a strategic retreat. At the end of the day, I think we have more leverage than any other nation, but we got to be smart, and we don't have all the leverage.
Let me show you this other clip here of Prime Minister Trudeau also saying, if you really want to be American first, you got to respect your neighbors. Play this clip.
America first happens best when Canadians and Mexicans are prospering as well. That a win-lose between us would actually be worse for them than a win-win. That's true in international trade, in relations between nation states. It perhaps is not true in real estate deals. That a win-lose is probably better for someone who is experienced in business deals than a win-win. But when it comes to countries, Win-wins are actually the best outcomes. And that is an argument that we've continued to make many times and that I've personally made many times with the president. And there is no better example of that than the extraordinary success we have created, Canadians and Americans together, in the most successful economic partnership in the history of the world.
Let's take a look at what some of the Canadians are doing in response. Let's play it.
Canadians like Daryl Johnson are embracing their identity.
I'm proud to be a Canadian.
Red and white on display all around her community.
There's a few of us that always do flags for Canada Day, but this is the first time I've seen flags out at this time of year.
We just filled up again. At World of Maps, flags are flying off the shelves.
Everyone's very happy that we can display the Canadian flag proudly.
It's also a reminder to shop local.
When I'm shopping, I can actually tell people, I can see people reading labels, looking for that Canadian flag or the Made in Canada on their product. So that's good.
You're a pub. Will you be able to make up for that loss without serving American-made liquor?
Oh, of course. We pulled our product on Friday morning. We have not served any American liquor since then.
Really?
Yeah. The threat of tariffs on Thursday night was enough just to say, it's coming. So we'll just be preemptive and get rid of it now.
Here are some of the protests taking place in Canada. Let's play it.
As anger towards Donald Trump reaches a boiling point in the nation's capital, few are voicing their displeasure louder than Mark Bogarts.
I was worried, but now I'm just mad. And I'm going to be out for every protest I can get to and make sure that Trump doesn't cross our border.
He drove 2 hours from Kingston to join a riled-up group of protesters in front of the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa on Tuesday, just 12 hours after Donald Trump imposed sweeping 25% tariffs on Canada and continues his calls to annex the country.
It's beyond my wildest dreams. If my mother was still alive, she'd be freaking in her boots. She'd be here beside me.
Many here still wrapping their heads around the deteriorating state of Canada-U.S. relations.
If you had mentioned this to me like 6 months ago, I'd have probably told you were crazy.
It takes a lot to rile Canadians up. And I think Canadians are riled up and they're speaking out, which they need to do. And
here is pathetic little person Donald Trump in the Oval Office saying, okay, but I'm super serious this time. April 2nd, the tariffs are coming back. What a pathetic, demented person he is. Play this clip.
On the auto tariffs that you were talking about, I know yesterday you spoke with the big three. Did you tell them that no more exemptions were on the way? And what was the reaction?
I told them, that's it. This was a short-term deal. And they came back to me yesterday. They said, could we have some help on the tariffs because of the speed? And I said, look, I'm going to do it, but that's it. Don't come back to me after the April 2nd. I don't want to hear from you after April 2nd. We're not going to be doing it anymore. I want to help them.
What was their response?
They didn't complain, but I helped them short-term during this short-term transition. April 2nd is going to be a very big day for America.
Mr. President.
What a stain on the United States of America. To all of our Canadian followers, we're sorry for this. To all the Canadians out there, what Trump's doing right there does not represent most of Americans. He got under 50% of the vote. His approval rating is in the gutter right now, and we're going to stand up to the regime here in the United States. We stand in solidarity with you, Canadians, not this fascist regime that's taken over the White House, this idiocracy, this bunch of... I'll just leave it at that. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.